This might be a bit controversial, but let me explain. Retirement is not the goal, it's just a phase that we all need to prepare for. And I feel like the danger is when you think that retirement is like the pot of gold after years of struggle and hardship, of working hard, that you don't get to really cherish the present moment that we have now. I think that there's really a balance between enjoying the life we have now, but also feeling secured about our future. What's up, guys? It's Nick. Let's talk about mastering your money mindset for the now and the future. So, you've probably heard of a lot of ways to retire early, and don't get me wrong, that's amazing. And I do have my retirement fund in place, I do have life insurance, and I guess that's just all it is, funds that will prepare me for my old age. And what I really want to get at is really the mindset, because for me, I plan for my retirement for sure, but it's not something that I super aspire for, that I want to retire early. Because do you really want to just enjoy life and feel like you've lived your life by the time you're like 40, 50, or 60? Like, I feel the gift of this present moment is the one that we should already be grateful for. And sometimes we forget that that's what life is supposed to be, to enjoy the journey. So today I'm sharing the 5 ways when you can enjoy like a mini retirement plan in your 20s, but also feel secured that you are saving up for your future retirement. If you're all about mastering your money mindset, then make sure you like this video and subscribe to the channel, because I don't miss out on a new video every single week. Now let's get into those tips. Number 1 is create a wish list aligned with your hobbies and goals. So it's not just any wish list that you do in Shopee or Lazada. It's really like a personal wish list that you plan out yourself, that you know that when you buy it, it's really aligned to the goals that you have on hand. You know that it's aligned with the goals that you've set out for yourself, or maybe hobbies that you've really been into that you enjoy. Honestly, the reason why I would overspend before, because I would deprive myself so much that one day I suddenly just relapse and just buy so many things. So I feel like the balance of rewarding yourself now, but you're also still saving for the future is very important. But it's not just a wish list just because you wanted a new gadget, just because you wanted to impress someone if you finally have this thing. The key thing that you need to think about is that, is it aligned with the goals, with the vision that you've set out for yourself? It's not just a very surface level. It's something that that really inspire you, that really motivate you to really enjoy life. Like for me, when I really wanted to go full on with my YouTube channel, I invested on a camera, I invested on a tripod, I wanted to buy an extra battery. And for me, it's a no-brainer because I know that I like doing my YouTube videos. So if you like content creation too, are you prioritizing your money based on that? Or let's say you've always wanted to learn Nihongo or Japanese or Korean, and you just always put it aside. But what if instead of you buying unnecessary things that end up don't getting used, what if you use that money instead of for learning a language in a course? Or what if you always wanted to get back into reading and you just never prioritize reading a new book again? Sometimes we have these big goals or things that we want to improve on, but we don't invest our time and money on them. Instead of us thinking about what we really want and plan it out, we get influenced by external things that we think we need or like we seriously want at this time, so that we feel like we're rewarding ourselves. But for us to really have that balance of like, okay, I'm securing my future, it's about building the habit of what's really important to spend your money on, to invest your time on. Because ultimately, if ever when you do retire, you already built that habit over time. That you will not overspend, that you will take every single peso seriously in a way that brings you fulfillment, brings you joy, and not just additional clutter. So comment below, what are those things that you've always wanted to buy that are more aligned to the things you wanted to do, hobbies and goals you wanted to hit, but you've always seemed to put aside? Comment it below so that you can claim it, that you will prioritize spending on these things that bring you more happiness and bring you more joy, rather than things that just pile up and just end up in dust, that actually just distract you from what you really want. Second thing is build an emergency fund with a purpose. I want to emphasize is a purpose, because that's only when your savings target, your emergency fund target will really, really stick. So this is from my experience, is that sometimes we focus on we must have an emergency fund, we must save, we must be responsible enough to save this kind of amount, that we forget like what is it all for really. From my experience getting deep into a lot of shopping and impulsive buying, the reason why I was ultimately able to stick to my six-figure emergency fund is because I had a clear purpose in mind. It's not just for the sake of saving, but there is a clear goal why I really want to keep up with it. You know, like for me, I wanted to maintain me living independently. Me, I wanted to have the freedom to eventually start my own business. And if I didn't have my emergency fund, I feel like I'd be really, really anxious not to take a risk, not to take the leap that ultimately for me is much more fulfilling and much more freeing. So for you, what is that purpose of building an emergency fund? Because ultimately, you have to save up 3 to 6 months worth of living expenses. So it takes time if you're starting with it. So you need to be clear on what is that purpose that really drives you, that really motivates you. Because that's what will remind you when things get hard, when you feel like you're about to get tempted to buy this thing. So having that emergency fund, I feel, really strikes a balance of being prepared for the future, but also you're able to think about, the kinds of things that you want to do now. And if it's kind of risky, it's okay, because you know that you have backup funds to back you up. Third thing that is very important is invest on autopilot. So autopilot meaning it's something that you really don't have to think about because it's automatic. Because I find that if you always take the time and effort and we don't have a schedule to invest, we forget about it. So in terms of building that retirement fund and making sure that our money is growing over time, for me personally, I've invested on variable life insurance or VUL and index funds in Call Financial. So for me, it's very easy to do that. I don't have to think about it. It's very much automatic because my variable life insurance is automatically credited from my credit card. So automatic talagang binabayaran ko siya kasi it really comes out in my billing statement no matter what. And then index funds with Call Financial, I already set an amount every single month on what I need to immediately send to Call Financial so that I use that amount for my index funds. And personally, for beginners or if you're not really into trading stocks, buy and sell, index funds for me is the way to go because it invests on the 30 biggest public companies in the Philippines without you maneuvering anything. Ultimately, like for me, those are the most simplest thing that I can do so that I can invest my money on autopilot. I just know that every single month I invest 15 to 20% of my living income, and I know that I am covered 10 to 20 years from now. I have something that I can withdraw based on how I'm investing my money right now. If you're looking to invest, I'm gonna have a future video soon on what you need to do before you invest, because sometimes we get blinded with, oh, I can grow my money, oh, I can get this returns, but it's really, for me at least, my philosophy is that investing is for long-term gain. So I think about it like 10 to 20 years from now, I'm gonna get something out of it, whether for retirement or maybe a future property that I want to invest that money on. 4 is be mindful of the present moment. This is coming from someone who's always been hustle, hustle, hustle for the entire 6 years of me working in corporate. Like for me, I thought that the faster I do things, the more I work, the more I excel. And you know what? I mean, I did get to where I wanted to be. But then at the same time, I kind of feel like years just went by and I'm just like, ano nga ba nangyari sa life ko? And sometimes we forget the time we have now. This is something that we cannot replace. And if we don't cherish what we have now, what makes you think that you're gonna be more grateful once you have it in the future? For me, what's been really helpful to keep me grounded is number 1, doing meditation. And it's not a meditation na 30 minutes kang nakahilata. For me, I started off like 5 minutes, eventually 10 and 15 minutes. It just really grounds me to be present right here, right now. You feel like you are more aligned to who you are, not aligned to what you're expected to be, what everyone else tells you that you're supposed to do. You take more time to reflect on who you are. And honestly, I feel like the biggest mistake that people in their 20s forget about is that not having enough time for self-reflection. Because sometimes we are caught in the rat race, we're caught in the endless things that we have to do that we forget, like, is this really who I am? Is this really what I stand for? Just being present in the moment reminds you of the values that you care about, the goals that really inspire you, that fulfill you. For me, slow living has been very beneficial. It's just taking my time to slow the freak down. Because let me tell you, you will always have a goal. You will always have the next goal. Once you reach a goal, there will always be a next goal. We have to remind ourselves to take time to look at how far we've come rather than look at how far we have yet to go. So another thing that really helped for me is journaling every single day. I thought that I wouldn't be the type because again, I'm just a hustle kind of person, but honestly, like, it really allowed me to process so much of my thoughts, because at times you just need to detox from everyone, from social media, from people's advice, be comfortable with who you are, and reflect on those kinds of thoughts. I feel like when you are more in alignment to who you are, to what you really want to do, then that's when you feel like you are living your best life, and you don't have to wait for your retirement to feel like a certain way, because right here, right now, you are grateful, you are thankful. And retirement is just, a phase that comes, and when it does come, you are prepared. But before that even happens, you know that you have lived a good life where you had energy, where you had time, and retirement is just basically a continuation. By the way, if you guys want to be constantly inspired with mastering your money mindset and be in the right direction, then make sure that you join my private Facebook group where we talk about how you can master your mindful saving and spending habits to live a sweet debt-proof life. And I also host their live Q&As, live sessions, so you can have more of me, and I also get to answer your burning questions. So make sure you join in, and I will see you there. Number 5 is really to celebrate the wins. Not even like the huge wins, like getting a promotion, getting a bonus, but really the small wins, like you making the effort of meditating or doing yoga in the morning instead of you scrolling on your phone, or you not giving into every single food craving that you have because you know that puts you in that endless loop of wanting to buy more and more. Sometimes we just really put a gold standard on the big wins that we forget about the present moment, the every single day that we get to actually wake up and feel excited to go about our day and not be so negative. Like, that's a win. So for me, every single morning, I write 3 things that I'm grateful for in my gratitude journal, and I feel like it's made a huge difference because I really set the pace, the mood for the day, that I am going at it with a positive mind, with a positive outlook. And that way, you're not always just looking forward to the weekend or like when you can finally take a break. It's literally you maximizing every single second of your day. Because if you're not, then what is life all about? If you want to be constantly inspired to be more mindful of your surroundings, be into mindful living, then make sure you follow me on Instagram, because I do share there the things that I'm grateful for, things that I do day by day. And I feel like it's not just about the perfect things that we do every single day or the perfect posts, but it's also about just sharing like the normal day-to-day wins. As you can tell, really all these tips are things that you can already start doing, where you balance really embracing the now, but also thinking about how you can utilize the time now so that you can secure a worry-free tomorrow. If you want to incorporate more mindful living or mindful spending habits in your life, then make sure you check out these 2 videos where I talk about more of that in depth, because I personally, like, I had to overcome being a shopaholic, and now I was able to save $500,000. And I feel like every single person watching this video, it's totally possible if you adapt more mindfulness in your day-to-day life. So I will see you guys there.